Hello, Braves country. It's Coach Ken Anderson coming for Hardcore Braves, and I got my main man Ryan. And before I get into my soliloquy tonight, Ryan, how you doing?
I'm good, buddy. Definitely was not a good series in New York. Braves kind of mailed it in, as me and you were discussing earlier, but we'll get into that later. Very disappointed in them. I can say that.
Yeah, I wrote, and I'm just gonna bring this up. We'll go ahead and get in. We're gonna get into the games. There's not a lot to recap. It was kind of a boring series, to be honest with you. So, the late Bobby Cox, who passed away this year, used to say if you could win all your series at home and split on the road, you'd be a successful team. And when we break that down, Ryan, that would mean you go 54 and 27 at home, 41 and 41 on the road. You would win 95 games, and 90 something percent of the time you're going to win your division. All right. With that said, since the All Star break, the Braves are 5-2 at home, won both series, and they're 3-3 on the road. They've done exactly what Bobby used to say you did. So the first question to you tonight is why, if we accomplish what we did, why does the fan base, unless you're just somebody that's got their head in the clouds and you're always trying to stay positive, not realistic, why do we all feel so blah tonight?
Well, because we lost. Let's see. Look, the first game in New York, we all kind of understood why that one went the way it did. Bullpen was tired. We had nobody. Perez could only go five. Early went out there and just got smoked. Okay, we get it. So moving on from that, but game one today, a very winnable game, and we probably didn't have not even a top 50 pitcher in Major League Baseball throwing against us today, and we made him look like he was Chris Sale out there for a good 5, 6 innings. And then we get out there in game two today. Scott was very good, but we also had, I don't know, he what, threw 3, 4 innings with maybe 30 pitches before the guys actually decided to show up to the plate and actually put at bats together. It was just that the effort was lacking in the New York series. Baltimore, it was there. The guys were fighting. The guys were working their tails off. They had good at bats. They had good approaches for the most part. It was not like that at all in New York. Terrible approaches, night in and night out. I mean, you could just tell some guys were just mailing it in, unfortunately. It was very frustrating, and we're lucky to walk away with just one win.
Yeah, I agree. And to CJ's point, we understand they were not expecting to play this doubleheader, and they had their wives up there, and they were all expecting to be back in Atlanta already by this time. We get it, guys. But you cannot mail these games in. And I actually texted to all of my friends. I can't understand what's got to be going through Walt's mind a day after he had to punt a game. Everybody knows in Major League Baseball, we punted a game to the Mets. We just, here you go. We got to give one up to you. You cannot sleepwalk as an athlete on the field. To me, it's the first time I can see something as unacceptable. And I love these two guys. Ozzy Albies today, for his last at bat, went back. Brandon Gollins said it. 5 at bats, 8 pitches, and Money Mike, I love. One of my favorites. He melted in today at the plate. Just explain to me, Ryan, how you don't have your coaches back and your organization's back right there to show up and play hard, knowing you punted the game on Monday.
Look, I mean, I'm not saying anything about the coaches here, but how do you not get excited to go out there and play a kid game every single day? I mean, I get it. I mean, you get the social media crap, but that's kind of easy to turn off, man. Me and you kind of get that. I'm on a smaller scale. We still get some of the crap from the fans because we try to see things differently and give everybody a different perspective, and a lot of people don't agree with that. But if you're Money Mike, man, you're making millions of dollars to go out there and play a kid's game for a living that I would guarantee you 95% of the population would love to do and for way less money. At some point, you got to look at it from that perspective instead of, oh my God, I got to go to the ballpark today, got to play these games, got to go then fly back to Atlanta. I like just go out there and go play. It's not hard to go give it your all for 9 innings and then come in and then do what you got to do. All right. And I know you get to the ballpark early. I know you got your hitting. I know you got your defensive work. I know you got your mobility work. I get all that, but you get to do that stuff for a living, man. You're not going out to the coal mines grinding for 12-hour shifts trying to make a living to feed your family. So I don't know. And Walt had your guys back so many times this year that he could have just thrown you to the wolves in the media because of how you were playing in June, but he didn't. And for him having to mail a game in and y'all just go out there and just kind of just go through the motions for these next two games, and luckily Chris Sale was on his game in the second game, so the Mets didn't get crap off of him. It's just not a good look. And I'm sure the guys know that, and I'm sure they're tired. I'm sure Walt's going to talk to them about it, but it shouldn't happen, especially after you're coming off a really good series in Baltimore. Everything looked like it was starting to flow in the right direction right after the break, and then you come in and just lay an egg in New York. It just doesn't look good.
Oh, it's the second time they've done that. It had a funny, funky thing in San Fran against the Giants at home where they got rain and they showed up and did nothing against Robbie Ray, and it's just unacceptable. So, guys, let's clean that up. Let's clean that up. I mean, I know it's the dog days of summer. Let's get going. So let's go ahead and get into the games. Not a lot to cover here. Game one ends up being a 14-3 loss. Offensively, it was the Ozzie Albies. Ozzie had a good game in this one. He had a home run. He drove in all three runs. Offensive, Cunha's first game back, he went 1 for 4 with 2 strikeouts. We didn't do a lot in the game offensively, and Connor Thomas had to come in and take one for the team. I felt bad for him. He gave up 11 runs before they went and finally got him in 2 2/3 innings. First of all, just overall, what were your thoughts on the game?
It's a close game until we had to go to the bullpen, and I mean, as soon as it was 3-3, and then you sent me the text of punting, I was like, "Who the heck's in the game?" And then I looked at and then it finally came on. I was like, "Yeah, we're punting this game." I mean, it. I don't blame Walt. Like, you played three really close games in Baltimore, and you played some close games at home. You used a lot of your pen. They need some rest, so I 100% get it. And you feel comfortable trying to win the next two games because you feel confident in your guys because they've been scoring runs, they've been having good at bats, they've been playing really well, but it's not what happened, and they made game one look a whole lot worse because of that.
Yeah, and we got the Mets at the wrong time. Francisco Lindor is red hot, and he had 2 home runs and 6 RBIs in the game. They hit 4 altogether, so they smoke us. Nothing to take away from the game other than that. We will ask the question to Ryan. It was brought up by the New York Mets broadcast team, and then everybody was like, "Yeah, Walt's got a point. What do you do?" What is Major League Baseball? What should they do in these situations? Okay, they want these guys to max effort, Ryan. They want them to throw, and they just can't go like they did back in my day where they could pitch so many games because they were throwing 80 something miles an hour. What is Major League Baseball's answer to the question of these bullpens getting absolutely taxed with all these games and stuff?
Well, I would like to point out the fact that you're seeing the high velocity, high spin really starting to catch up to the league. And look, the old man who yelled at the clouds years ago saying these kids are going to blow their arms out and it's not sustainable. You're not going to have as many innings pitched from the starters. It's going to start wearing on the bullpens. Here we are. It took about a decade, but here we are. Uh, this isn't going any way by any means. People are still going to want velocity. They're still going to want high spin. So the answer would be to let the organization structure their rosters the way they want to, which would be adding more pitchers, cutting position players, which really hurts the position players, and the MLBPA probably doesn't want that. So it's a really tricky situation. I really don't know how you go with this. I think that's the easiest solution, but probably the better overall solution would be MLB stop trying to get the max effort guys and throwing 100 miles an hour and trying to think that's sustainable for a 10 to 15-year career because it's not. Teach kids how to pitch again, teach movement, teach location. Not saying you can't throw 98 miles an hour. Justin Verlander did it for his entire career, but he started 93, 94, located, learned how to spin the ball, and then when it got late in the game, he'd crank his velocity up. That's how he lasted as long as he did. So there's a couple different solutions, but I think the one they're going to go with is adding another pitcher to the roster and letting teams carry another pitcher. But what are your thoughts, Ken? You can't blame the Braves, and you feel bad for the kid, but that's the situation that he was put in. That's his role in the major leagues right now. So, what you think?
like the MLB to go what the NFL does. I think they ought to have a taxi squad and with their pitchers. So yeah, you have a 26-man roster, but you have a taxi squad, and the taxi squad is made up of only pitchers. And maybe if you wanted to do some sort of like catcher, emergency catcher kind of deal, like they do the emergency quarterback in the NFL. Because the reason the taxi squad would work is in a situation like this, the Braves would have not ever let Hernandez go, ever. They would have put him on the taxi squad. And then what they would have done when they got to New York is probably they would have said for the now you got to do it for a whole series. That's the key here. You can't do it game by game. But going into the Mets series, probably could have took one of their pitchers, and it could have been Dylan Lee that needs some time off. Put him on the taxi squad. Basically, he's not going to pitch this series, and you put a guy in there. I don't think they'll ever get to that, but I think MLB's missing the boat here. I think a little taxi squad where you carry two extra pitchers and maybe an emergency catcher in case of injury, and the catcher can actually come in the game just like an emergency quarterback after a certain point, after midway through a game or something, or if it goes into extra innings, however you want to word it. What do you think about that, Ryan?
I really like that idea. I don't know why it's not implemented in Major League Baseball at this point, especially with all the injuries. I mean, you could carry a starting pitcher if you wanted to. You could carry two bullpen guys. You could carry a freaking outfielder if you wanted to, just in case. I don't know. However, their teams want to structure it, but I think the taxi squad would actually be a very interesting thing in Major League Baseball. I really like that.
Yeah, so we'll see. They're gonna do something because all the teams are barking at the moon right now. They're just wearing out these pins left and right, and that's why everybody will want relief pitching here at the trade deadline. And who was the first guy to get moved this week, starting tonight? A relief pitcher. So you're going to be a lot of them. All right, let's get to game two of the series, game one of the day. Sean Manaea, we made him look like Clayton Kershaw with his big curveball. And the one thing that happened in the game is Matt Olson hit a two-run homer. That was key to tie it. But that's all we got offensively. A lot of first pitch swinging, a lot of pop ups. That was driving me insane, Ryan. Pop up. We had one inning. I don't know if you knew this. We had a pop up to second, a pop up to first, and a pop up to second. It was by the middle of the lineup. That to me is what showed me we had lazy at bats today. What did it show you?
Yeah, especially since I think I remember correctly, it was within the first three pitches of the at bat.
Yeah.
And I remember, I think it was in the second game. I think Michael had like a 2-0 count and got a not so good of a pitched hit, swung at it, and popped it up to the infield. I'm just like, what are we doing, man? Like, come on. It's I would give it to the pitchers if the pitcher had really good stuff. Sean Manaea didn't have anything special. He didn't have anything that like he wasn't on his A game today. He was just Sean Manaea, and we went out there and made him look like he was prime Clayton Kershaw. It's just the at bats. I've said it multiple times. I'm not going to say that they're lazy. I don't know what these guys are going through. Everybody's got their own stuff that they got to go through, so that's their business. But from what I'm seeing, you did put your 100% effort into the at bats today. And I'm not going to say whether or not you did your pregame work and you really planned against the pitcher, but it just didn't seem like y'all had a game plan going up there against either one of these pitchers today, I will add. So, again, I can't emphasize this enough. Extremely disappointing from the offense this series. It's just no game plan, no really good at bats. They didn't work counts. They didn't have an approach, and they definitely didn't execute a game plan because they didn't have an approach. So really bad.
On the pitching side, let's get to it. Somebody sent me a thing, maybe. I don't think it was you, Ryan, because we were both busy and didn't get to write each other a lot. But somebody sent me this. Oh, it might have been Stash. AJ Smith Sharver is working right into that Braves rotation. 4 and a third innings and get off the mound. It made me laugh. But AJ pitched well today. His velocity was up. His splitter looked good. I think AJ Smith Sharver could fix a lot of eels. But Ryan will tell you, our concern is not how he would throw today because adrenaline would get him through. The concern will be how does he pitch in game two? And remember when Hurston come up, Hurston was throwing the ball lights out as well. Now he didn't throw strikes as good as AJ did today, but he still threw with a high velocity. And we know what happened. And we're not wishing AJ any ill, but AJ overall today threw the ball well around.
Yeah, he kind of did what I thought he was going to do. I told you I think he was going to go about 4 innings. He's going to give up some contact. His control was a lot better, especially with the off speed, which was nice to see. But I would have liked to see him get a couple more starts in Gwinnett. I know it didn't, the schedule didn't allow that to happen. I get it, but you're throwing 80. Ken, you can attest to this. When you're throwing, this is like a varsity player going to pitch in a JV game to ramp up to get back to pitching at varsity. He goes out there, he throws 80 pitches. Realistically, though, it's probably about 55, 60 when you're going to varsity because when you hop in there, it's adrenaline pumping and that'll carry you. But also, when you go sit down on the bench, the adrenaline wears off and you get fatigued quicker. You don't have that adrenaline rush when you're in AAA as much. So that's something that AJ had to deal with, which is why I think he fatigued a little bit quicker today because he was around the 60 pitch mark when he started losing it today. So, all in all, good at first outing. I hope he recovers well, and I hope he can continue to build his pitch count up and show really good command and break of his off speed pitches. I think that's going to be key to him. The velocity's always been there. I'm not really worried about that. It's been the secondary stuff that I worry about. So we'll see. Again, Alex Anthopoulos, do not bank on him being your saving grace for the love of Christ. You can't do it anymore. You tried it all year, it hasn't worked. So go get some help.
I agree. I'll say this also about AJ. I loved his demeanor on the mound. It's a lot more mature. So AJ's getting there. So I'm pulling for AJ, and we know that his dad is a follower of us. And I thought AJ threw great, and I know Jason's got to be excited. So as far as how he lost the game, I felt bad for Dylan Dodd. He threw really well, got the first two guys out, and then for some reason he lost his location mark. He cannot walk guy, especially on the one at bat was not competitive. He walked him on four pitches. And then Carson Bench come up, and Carson Bench is going to be a great player, and I hate that because he's with the Mets. He had good swings all series, especially against our left-handed pitchers. He hits a double down in the corner and take the lead. You can comment on both. Dylan Dodd, first time he's walked two guys. He hadn't walked but one guy in 12 outings, and so that was a little unlucky. And Carson Benz is going to be a great player, isn't he, Ryan?
Yeah, I think Dodd got a little tired, but I'm gonna do this right here to Benji.
Yeah, shoot.
You hit 94 at the freaking chest down the line for a double, and you get on top of that ball. You won. You won. Dylan made the perfect two-strike pitch. He got way above the strike zone. It's 94, 95 up, and he put a good swing on it. There. I mean, what else do you want Dylan to do? I mean, that's a great pitch. He sequenced him perfectly. He was nailing the top of the strike zone with his fastball where he was under it and late, and then he throws one up even higher and he gets on top of it. I mean, you tip your cap, and it shouldn't have been what beat us, but because our offense really drug their freaking nuts across the bases today, that was the offense today. So that's what beat us, unfortunately. But I'm not blaming Dylan Dodd for the loss. I think he pitched great. He got a little tired, which I think is why he walked. He had a really good at bat there to Benji. Benji got the best of him. You tip your hat and you move on.
Actually, bad for Bench goes in game three, goes up there and hits a 97-mile-an-hour fastball away from him into left field off of Chris Sale. So Carson Bench is going to be a great player. So we lose the game 3-2. I do like the fact that Walt did everything he could. He, as a manager and as a coach, I tell you, he gave the Braves every opportunity to win that game today. Every opportunity. I knew the coaches would work their ass off to try to win this series. This is all on the players. And to Ryan's point, the offense. It's all on the offensive players. Ronald had an at bat against Sean Mania with Sean Mania, and CJ couldn't believe it in the booth, throwing 92-mile-an-hour fastballs by him. Like he was not afraid of him. So that's Ronnie. Got to be
I
better.
tried. I've been telling people this, and I told him when he was in the minor leagues he wasn't ready. He couldn't hit 92 in the minor leagues. You think he's going to be able to hit it up here in the big leagues? If you haven't seen the video, it's pinned to my ex. It's still the same issues. He's cleaned up some of the stance problems. His problem's not with the stance. I told you all that in the video. It's going to be more with his load and stride, and it's still his load and stride.
Yeah, he looked a little bit better in the second game, like he was trying to go to right field, and but even Christian Scott blew it by him at 95. So he's got to get way better to catch velocity. We'll get into the national series. He doesn't really have to worry about that as much in the Nat series, so maybe he can get right. All right, the last game we win 1-0. The offense, very simple. I tell you a guy who did have good swings today, Jim Jarvis. And even on the strikeout, lefty on lefty, he just missed the one that went to two strikes. He should have got a ball caught on the first strike. And I see what's going on. They're not letting the rookie challenge. Probably the right thing, but I hate that because he's got probably the most pitches where they're out of the strike zone and they're calling strikes. But he scores the run. Baldwin got a hit. Olson got a hit. So Matt knocked in all three runs today. And so, you know, that's how we scored. How we won the game was Chris Sale. Chris Sale is a beast. 6 shutout innings today. Again, that 6th inning, his pitch count got up on us. He couldn't go 7 this time. The bullpen, they went with a big 3. Like I said, Walt did everything he could today to win. He went Didier, he went Lee, he went Iglesias. Game over. Out, and they got a win. Really a big win because they got swept in New York. I don't know if they could have recovered from it. So any more on this game and as far as the pitchers, Ryan?
Shout out to the pitchers. I mean, you can kind of guess who my MVP of the series is going to be for the Braves because there wasn't nobody on the offensive side that was worth a shit this series. No offense, fellas, but play better. If they got swept, Walt Weiss might have had no foot left after shoving it up everybody's rear ends, getting onto that plane after he's kicking them on there for losing that or getting swept. Because let me tell you, you go out there and you throw your best arms to go out there and win 2 games, and you can't win 2 games because you just laid an egg and you just mailed it in. He would have been wearing somebody's ass out going on to that plane. I can go ahead and tell you that. I don't care if it's a grown man or not. Walt would have been freaking pissed.
Let me tell you something. When we lose a game, it was funny. My wife and Cheryl would always say that we lose a game at Calhoun, which was very rare. I mean, we had like a 90% winning percentage at Calhoun, and the kids did great. But when we did lose a game and we played like we did, the bus would pull up back at Calhoun, and me and Chip would be sitting up here, and the whole team would be in the back, scrunched up 3 to a row, 3 to a seat, because we were pissed. So I'm sure the plane flight would have been the same. So let's get to our MVP play of the series. Let's start with MVP first, because I think it's pretty cut and dry who that is. Ryan, who you got?
Besides Conley early, it's going to be the entire pitching staff. Perez threw good. In game, I think what was it, game 1 he threw. AJ Smith-Shawver coming off Tommy John and going, didn't get a full rehab assignment. He threw well. Bullpen threw well behind him. And Sale was nasty. Bullpen, big 3 came in, shoved it right behind him. I mean, they made it possible for us to win 2 games, and we pulled one of them out. So hats off to the pitchers, man. There's really nobody else, in my opinion, that you can give it to. The pitching staff, outside of one guy, pitched extremely well this series, Ken.
Yeah, I'll go Chris Sale. Chris Sale, and when you went in the 9th, that's how you thought. Well, we got Sale. We should get this win and go 6.5 up and over the Phillies. And it's not what you wanted, but who would ever thought the Phillies would have got swept by the Marlins? So you kind of get out of there and take it. So Pete Fairbanks saved the last 2 games. He had a 7.81 ERA in the month of July. That's how bad the Phillies were playing. So that's a them problem. And if you hadn't checked out the Phillies right now, everybody's fighting, even their broadcasters, even the studio host. So it's made me laugh. So, play of the series. What's your play of the series?
The 7th, 8th, 9th inning of Game 3. It's my play of the series.
Yeah, it's a good
Shut
one.
it down. You go Chris Sale. I mean, there wasn't much to choose from. Let's be honest.
I got the difference maker. I got the difference. As Carson Benz is bad against Dylan Dodd in a 2-2 game. I want to give Ben some love. That kid. If they want to somehow just dump him for no reason, I would love the Braves to take a flyer on him and go spend whatever they can. And that would get into a discussion that make all you mad on who you would probably move on from to get Carson Benz. But that's for another day. All right, so let's get to the next series. Here come the Nats. Now, the last 2 series, we faced 2 teams that were really pitching it well and not hitting it well. That's not the case with this team. This team can rake. They got 2 guys over 900 OPS. James Wood, 960. C.J. Abrams, 926. To give you an example of that, Matt Olson sits at 869, and Matt Olson's a hell of a player, and if he keeps this up, he may be a Hall of Famer. The Nats team is a very special young team. I know you like all their kids, and the one kid that's got the lowest OPS of all of really their best kids is Lyle, and he may have the best swing on the whole team. Tell us a little bit about the Nationals and how good they hit the baseball.
Boy, man, if I could trade offenses right now. If we combine the Braves pitching staff with the Nats and we get Foster Griffin as well, we might run away with the World Series. It's just how good their offense is. My gosh. Abrams and Wood leading the charge. Their third baseman was playing well, and then they shipped him out to Boston, and then he broke his wrist. So I don't know who's playing third for them now, but uh, they're good, man. They got a really good young core. It's going to be a dogfight, and I hope our pitchers continue to pitch as well as they have because they're going to need to, and our offense is going to actually have to wake the hell up because we're facing some guys that we normally don't hit pretty well, and we're getting their number one this series in Mr. Griffin, which I will be curious, Ken, if he pitches this series and he's not dealt at some point, or if they hold him back because they don't want to risk injury before they trade him. It'll be interesting. So it's going to be a really hard series. We got 4 games with them. I'd be happy with a split. How about you?
I'll be happy with a split. I tell you who's playing third base for them right now. Ryan's another one of their kids. We get to see him really for the first time. That's Brady House. That's why they could send me. They're high on House. We will see. We do get their best four, and I'm going to make the comment, and I'll do it on the series preview too. It's going to be interesting. We get the Nationals top four. We don't get Littell. We get their top four, and they're going to face our number fours. Our 4 pitchers going this weekend are all number 4 pitchers: Elder, Perez, Holmes. Who am I leaving out? Lopez. They're number fours, and so it's going to be a battle of that. Pitching matchup does kind of favor us, other than the fact that the guys going, Miles Michaelis owns us for some reason. Foster Griffin is a great pitcher. And Jake Irvin, who's been on the IL, said, you know what? I think I'll come back. It's the Braves. I always pitch good against the Braves. And then Cavalli's a really good pitcher, too, that kind of is back and forth. He pitches well, doesn't pitch well. So I think you've already kind of gave us your prediction. What's your prediction on the series?
I'd be so happy with the split, and that's what I'm going with. I don't think we went through out of 4. Our It's going to be tough because those boys can hit it. They don't pitch it well. They do pitch well against us. I will say that. So we got some demons that we need to exercise against. Jake Irvin again. My God, Foster Griffin. It's going to be a hard series to even split, in my opinion, Ken. But hopefully we can get their starters' pitch counts up, get into that bullpen because that bullpen sucks, and that's where we can do some damage. And the offense, figure it the hell out for the love of God. Go in there, game plan, execute your game plan, get into the daggum bullpen and wear it out, and you might have a good series.
Toad running, and I'll get concerned if we don't hit the ball against the Nationals because we're going to have to score. I'm going to go split. I will say this here. If we win 3 out of 4, one will be a ninth inning walk off where we walk them off. It'll be a game that we come back in, and that's helping the Nationals all year. They've lost 4 of those to the Phillies. In all 4 of them, they were up at least 3 minimum going into the ninth inning and lost all 4 of them. If they just win those 4 games, if they had any of our back end guys to close for them, they would be in second place. And they would be like probably 3 games out behind us. We'd be fighting our ass off right now. So that's how that's going. I know you're sick and tired of talking about it, but this is the show before we get on the weekend. Do you expect any trades this weekend? We did get a trade today. Silseth's going to the Rangers, which is great. They need a bullpen help, and so they go get him. And for some reason, the Angels said, "Oh, the hell with it. We're going to fire sell." Even though just a few weeks ago, Artie Moreno said we're not going to sell one person. They just threw Logan O'Hoppe in for a prospect. So what do you think this weekend? The reason I ask that is both these teams are probably looking at the front office. I think the Nationals players are kind of ahead of where they thought. I don't think they care if they make a deal. I think our players are going to kind of want to know. Alex may have to go to the clubhouse, do one of those meetings. I heard a lot of GMs have done this. So this is not out of the norm. I know Sherhurst did it all the time. He walked in before the Fred McGriff trade over the weekend. He said, "You keep playing hard. I guarantee we're going to get somebody." You think Alex will do that? Look, I'm going to get somebody. I can't guarantee who it's going to be, and it'll probably be Monday. What do you think is going to happen this weekend as far as all that?
Can I be honest? I don't think the players give two shits right now because they're kind of like the fans will believe it when we see it because we've been here. It's just I don't think we see a trade this weekend. I think we're going to see it Monday. I think AA is going to wait to the last minute, just like he does on every single deadline. You can go back. The only time he didn't do it was 21, and that was Jock Peterson, the early trade. And then after that, it was all on deadline day. I remember that one vividly.
They got vote before deadline day. But the rest of it was on deadline day.
Yeah,
Stephen vote come before deadline.
but I don't see a trade coming before Monday, and I don't know how many trades we get. By the day, I'm expecting less and less, which kind of sucks. But I, he's going to have a lot of explaining to do to those guys in the clubhouse come Monday, and he gets a number four starting pitcher and a bullpen arm and nothing else. You're going to have a lot of explaining to do to those dudes in the clubhouse down there because they're first in the NL East by 6.5 games right now. And they're putting themselves in as best a position as they can with a lot of underperformances with Austin Riley, Ronald Acuna Jr., Ha-Seong Kim, and a pitching staff that has been leaking oil other than Chris Sale. So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens. And I could see if we don't make some big moves, Ken, we might be falling off in the second half because these guys might get defeated a little bit.
Sean Murphy's on that list too. Sean got a base hit in his first at bat tonight in his rehab appearance. I'd have to disagree with my friend here. I think they care a lot. I think that's why you got Bryce Harper voicing what he did after the game. I think they care a lot. Now they don't get in the ins and outs like Bryce was maybe naming, but one of the things that I've heard from many players over the years is you look around and wonder. You look around and wonder, and that's the four pitching this weekend. Am I going to be a starter on this staff? I have to pitch well this weekend because of the break. They can look and see they're going to add a starting pitcher. They may not, but that's how they're going to look at it. They know who struggled. You don't think Tyler Kinley realizes how much he struggled here in July? They're going to play, and I just politely disagree with Ryan on that one. I think they do care, and they are thinking about it. I think every team is. I think every Tiger's thinking about it this weekend. Is Scuba going to be here? Scuba not going to be here? The Orioles are going to play the Phillies. That's two clubs. Who's going to go for it? Who's not going to go for it? But Ryan could be right. I could be misreading the room.
So, I want to say this. I think they care about the deadline. I don't think they care about Alex Anthopoulos going in there and saying, hey, guys, play hard. That's what I thought we were talking about with that. I think they care about the deadline. I don't think they care about that.
Well, according to Bryce, he'd like for him to come and tell him they're going to do something. So I don't know. I think it's each player may be different. I don't think like Matt Olson particularly cares, but I think Chris Sale might. He's at the end of his career, and he wants to kind of know. I wouldn't be surprised if Sale goes to him and ask him if Alex don't want to take his whiny ass down to the dugout and have a meeting with his own team to tell them, hey boys, that's not play hard. That's not what I was saying. Hey guys, I got you. You keep playing. I got you. We're going to do something. And look, it's going to better the club. All we are going to be here, but I'm going to better the club. If he doesn't want to do that, that's on his ass. He's on his ass. But I know for a fact Sherhost did it, and Sherhost is in the Hall of Fame. Maybe Alex wants to be in the Hall of Fame. Maybe he should do it. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Do what you got to do, Alex. I don't care. You can get on 680 the fan and lie to us. That's what you can do. That's what you're good at doing. So go ahead. I don't care. All right. I got me fired up, Ryan. I like it. Neil Irons always want me to get fired up, so I think he does that on purpose. So, all right. What's our final thought tonight? What do you got tonight? We are 2/3 of the way through, Ryan. We have 54 more games left. What do you think? What's your final thought?
Final thought is, Alex, go get this team some effing help. They need it, for the love of Christ. I don't know what else you need. They're playing their rear ends off. They're worn out in New York. Go get them some help. And more on the pitching side, we're gonna get a platoon bat. I don't see us landing a big bat. We got to get Ronald O'Reilly going. One of those two guys is going to have to get going in the middle, top of this lineup to help balance it out. And they're your two superstars that aren't playing like superstars, and we need one of them to start performing. So that's my final thought.
We said it all year. If 1-3 and 2-7 don't get going, we're in trouble. And right now they're not getting going, and our offense is in trouble. So my final thought is this: it's Alumni Weekend, guys. Y'all get to the stadium. Andrew Jones bobblehead Thursday night. I don't know why the Braves can only get 15,000 out, but that's a season ticket holder gripe. It's been for years. But 14,990 y'all need to get to the ballpark early enough because one will be gone for sure on Andrew Jones bobblehead night. So y'all get there and get one. The alumni will be there all weekend. They're going to have parades. They got a softball game on Saturday. They got a lot of stuff. I can't wait to see the softball game. They're going to do it different. The home run derby different this time, so I'm excited how that is. It also means they give autographs around the stadium, so make sure you get that. A lot of good stuff going on, and I've heard that Andrew's going to try to be there as much as he can. And Andrew normally comes to the games anyhow, so try to get by and tell Andrew congratulations, and tell the Braves alumni how much we appreciate it. Remember, we're one of the most winning organizations in baseball history over the last, what is that, 35 years. 35 years, they're one of the most winning organizations. So give them a thanks. So we're going to get out of here. We love you, Braves country. And as always, peace.
You know what, boys? You guys are going to be world champions for the rest of your life.